Hey guys, welcome to another market review session with us today. And as our usual tradition is, we'll be looking at some currency indices together, and then we'll be looking at some currency pairs also together. All right, so first up on our list is the US dollar index DXY. As you can see here from my chart, I'll be expecting a level of strength on DXY. Right, if you go if you look at this, you can see that we're already in a zone, and we're in a demand zone. All right, and we've gotten a level of rejection. All right, this demand zone is between 102.612 and 102.103. all right, so I'm watching out for possible strength from DXY during this week. All right, so I'm watching out for price to possibly push up into this zone here, which is between 103.657 and 103.432. Now, the reason why I've marked out that zone is because I'm expecting it to become a pivot. All right, we're saying 1, 2, 3, about 4 rejections from there before we got to see price finally break through it. All right, so and it's very possible that we'll be getting price coming. I wanted to push up into that zone. All right, and use the strength from there before we continue for more sales. All right, something towards this end. All right, so currently my bias for DXY during the course of this week will be for us to see some level of strength. All right, I hope that is clear. Next up, let's look at BXY, which is the Great British Pound Currency Index. All right, and you can see here we're in a very beautiful supply zone. All right, and I'll be expecting a level of weakness overall on BXY. However, I want to be very careful in this zone. All right, a more idealistic approach for me would be for me to wait for the for price to get to the 0.5 of this zone. This is around 129 points, let's say 0.60. Yes, let's just say 0.60. So these are 129.58 or 60. All right, so I'll be watching out for price, the likelihood, all right, of price pushing up a bit, all right, into this zone properly before we get to see that rejection towards the downside. So that being said, I'll be expecting a level of like something towards the end of a buy to sell, all right, on BXY. All right, however, overall my bias on BXY is bearish. All right, overall my bias on BXY is bearish until further notice, at least. All right, next up we'll be looking at AXY, which is the Australian dollar currency index. All right, and you can see here on my chart, I'll be expecting something similar to what we saw on BXY. All right, I'll be expecting a bearish continuation on AXY. Reason being that we've already seen price coming to the supply zone, and we've gotten a good enough rejection from that supply zone. Now I'm saying good enough, all right, though I would still be very watchful. All right, this other block right is between 67.29 and 66.69. all right, so I just want to be watchful. All right, there's every possibility of price still wanting to push up just a little bit, all right, into the zone properly, all right, before we get to see a proper rejection. All right, however, I want to be watchful because as you can see here, we've gotten a candlestick that's shown us a level of rejection. All right, so that being said, overall my bias on AXY would be bearish. All right, will be bearish. I'll be expecting weakness on AXY. All right, next up, let's look at CXY, which is the Canadian Dollar Currency Index, CXY. All right, as you can see on my chart, I'll be expecting CXY also like AXY to be bearish. However, I want to be very careful. I think even more careful than I was, or I would be on AXY on the Canadian pairs. All right, during the course of this week. Reason being that, as you can see here, we've gotten 2 rejections from this zone. All right, this is between 74.65 and 74.48. We've gotten 2 very good rejections from that zone. All right, 2 bearish rejections from that zone. Now I want to be watchful for the possibility of price breaking that zone eventually. All right, let me quickly show you something here. Let's call this our first low. All right, then we had a high. All right, a low that was lower than the previous low, then a lower high, yes, then a lower low, all right, then a lower high, yes, then we had a lower low again. All right, showing us that we're in the bearish sort of trend. All right, now on a normal day we will be having a lower high, all right, a high that was lower than the previous high. However, we are having a high that was higher than that previous high. That's showing me something, all right, that there's every likelihood, give me a minute please, there's every likelihood for some moves, all right, for some manipulations to occur very soon. All right, so I'll be watching out for something towards the end of price being bearish. However, there's every likelihood for us to get into, let me just quickly mark this out, there's every likelihood for us to see price get into this fair value gap around here, or let's just mark somewhere around here. Right, there's every likelihood for us to see price get into this fair value gap, then get a rejection, and then we get to see price move towards the upside. All right, however, if this fair value gap is broken and I get to see price also break below this previous low, if you can mark it out on your chart, you'll be seeing it's around 73.49 or so. If we can get to see price break below those two, right, then definitely my bias would be for CXY to continue bearish. All right, so probably will be able to see something towards this end. All right, let me just mark this out here. All right, you can see that we actually have a demand zone that we've marked for quite some time now, between 72.88 and 72.39. All right, so if we can get to see price break below this zone here, all right, this is 73.89 and 73.77, and I get to see price break the previous low, then definitely I'll be watching out for price coming into that zone I showed earlier, 72.88 and 72.39. All right, so I hope that is clear for CXY. Next up, let's look at JPY basket. JPY basket. During the course of last week, I was expecting a level of weakness on JPY basket. However, we didn't get to see that. I got to see that price continually broke previously made highs. All right, and now we are seeing that it is looking like JPY basket is gearing up, all right, for some level of bullish activity. All right, so I want to be watchful. However, it's very likely I'll be getting to see some weakness on JPY basket during the course of this week. All right, but as you can see here, let me quickly delete this. As you can see here, the current moves that we're having are showing that momentum has started to slow down. Momentum has started to slow down. All right, so I'll be watching out for something towards the end of a possible push up just a little bit into the zone, and then we get to see price fall. All right, as you can see, we've gotten some candles that are showing us that there is a slowdown in the momentum. All right, and then I'll be watchful for just that sell off. All right, so one of two things is either we get to see that that fact that price will push up just a little bit into the zone properly, all right, before we get to see the bearish move, or price will just decide, all right, to fall from here. All right, that'll be as a result of the fact that there are not many more buyers in the market. All right, there'll be more people that want to sell. All right, and then we get to see price drop. All right, so I hope that is clear on JPY basket. All right, so quickly let's look at some of the currency pairs or commodities together. All right, and first off, we'll be looking at possibly everybody's favorite gold. All right, XAU USD, and let me just go up to the daily time frame. All right, I think during the course of this week, let me see if we'll probably be able to go up to the monthly. Yes. All right, so during the course of this week, we've got to see that currently gold has started or has entered a new all-time high. All right, and looking at that, it's now, if you're using oscillators or you're using indicators, you will have been able to see that currently gold, all right, has already, it should be in the overbought region, as it were. We've had an overextended buy already, and going by that also, you'll be watching out for sales. Now, rationally, you'll be watching out for sales. However, I want to be very, very careful on gold. As you can see, there are basically no arrows that I put here on this chart. I want to be very, very careful and watch out for what gold is going to do. All right, now the current candles that we are seeing are showing us that there's every possibility that gold is losing momentum, all right, and for the buy. All right, so I want to be watching out for possible sales that will be able to happen. All right, but I won't be giving a direct bias for this. However, what I would advise is before entering any trade on gold during the course of the week, as much as possible, make sure you have your lower time frame confirmations. As much as possible, make sure you have your lower time frame confirmations. All right, yes, I think that'll be it for gold. Yes, that'll be it for gold. I'm not going to tell you, all right, buy gold and or sell gold, all right, but as much as possible, wait for lower time frame confirmations. Personally, all right, a wishful bias, as it were, would be for us to have gold become bearish very soon. All right, that's a wishful bias. All right, but we're not working based on wishes here. We're doing analysis. All right, and for analysis, you look at past data to make your future predictions. All right, so I hope that is clear for gold. All right, next up, let's look at USD card. USD card. So for USD card, I'll be expecting, all right, a level of bullishness, all right, on USD card. Now I have one or two scenarios that I've marked out here, all right, on my chart. Scenario one would be for us to get to see price come up into the zone. This is 1.35259 and 1.35028. All right, so I'm watching out for price to first get into the zone. Now, if after price gets into this zone, I get to a lower time frame confirmation telling me that it's very, very possible for us to have price continue bearish, then definitely I'll be looking out for sales from this zone, all right, this initial zone. However, if I get to see price break above that zone, I will have just one thing to watch out for, all right, for price to come up into this zone I marked out earlier here. This is around 1.35845 and 1.35627. All right, so I'm watching out for something towards that end. As you can see here, there's a lot of imbalance or fair value gap that price would probably want to fill, all right, before continuing for its sell. All right, so that'll be my bias on USD card. I'll be expecting bullishness on USD card during the course of this week. All right, let's go up next into GBP JPY. All right, another fan favorite. And as you can see, I think for a while now we've been talking about the fact that GBP JPY would be bearish. All right, I've gotten to see some level of sell, all right, on GBP JPY. For this week, however, I'll be watching for a little bit of a buy. I think I should probably minimize this arrow so that you won't get confused. Give me a minute, please. Yes, so something towards this end. Now, why is this my bias? This zone already is from the reactions that we can see in this zone, all right, it's showing me that this zone is already weak. All right, now this was the initial order block. We've gotten it broken, or we've gotten it touched one, two, about 3 or 4 times already, and it is showing me that even though it is managing to hold, all right, you can see that the moves that have happened from that zone are not necessarily significant moves. All right, you can see that it's just a little bit of a buy. We got to see price come back again and down. We are still seeing a little bit of bearishness on GBP JPY. So overall, my bias on GBP JPY would be bearish. It would be bearish. However, I just want to see a possible right now. I put this up in case you just want to look at the lower time frames and get scalp a little bit of some buys, all right, before we get to see that continuation for GBP JPY to be bearish, all right. But overall, my bias on GBP JPY would be bearish. So for me, I'll be looking out for zones that I can sell from on GBP JPY. All right, so I hope that is clear. Now next up, let's go into GBP USD. Now allow me to go up into the daily time frame. All right, you can see that currently price has entered one it has entered a supply zone that we have been watching out for quite some time now. All right, quite some time now actually, and I'll be expecting, of course, a rejection towards the downside, or a bearish rejection, all right, on GBP USD. Now we've gotten to see, now if we go down to the 4 hours, we're going to see some level of rejection, all right, from these two candles. As you can see, we've gotten rejection from those two candles, and it should show you, all right, that there's every likelihood for GBP USD to turn bearish very soon, all right. So but for the meantime, I'm watching out for possible moves that might happen probably very early in the week, on Monday, possibly on Tuesday, all right. It might not necessarily get to Wednesday, all right, but just for us to see price pull up a bit more into this zone before we get to see that drop, all right, eventually on GBP USD. However, as I said earlier, my bias for GBP USD would be bearish. All right, so next up, I hope that is clear. Next up, let's look at USD CHF. All right, I think during the course of last week, I was talking about this zone. I think I did. I was talking about this zone. Now we're going to see that again. I think I was talking about this, something similar to this on probably AXY or BXY. We're going to see something like a pivot here. All right, we're going to see this was the initial touch on this zone. All right, second touch on this zone, and then we've got to see that price has been able to break out or below this zone. All right, so right now I'm watching out for the possibility of price still coming back to meet this zone. All right, that would mean that we have a pivot. All right, this zone is between 0.88063 and 0.87920. All right, so if we get to see price come back into that zone, then definitely I'll be watching out for sales on USD CHF. All right, so overall, even though my bias is sort of bearish on USD CHF, I'll be watching out for a buy to sell movements, all right, on USD CHF. All right, I hope that is clear. Just to be sure, if we get to see, all right, so even though I'm expecting a level of bullishness to start up during the course of the week on USD CHF, before I'll be entering for this sell, all right, I'll be watching out for, again, lower time frame confirmations, like I always say. All right, so I would be watchful still. I'll be very watchful. Let me just quickly mark this out. Give me a minute, please. All right, let me just mark this out with my arrow here. All right, so may I try to get to see price come up to the extreme, all right, to the border, as it were, to the border of this around 0.88056. All right, may I try to get to see price come up to the border of, you know, this zone here before we get to see that drop. All right, you can see that we've had rejection from this line here. All right, this is an order block here. Let me just quickly mark that out for us. All right, so we've actually gotten to see price get rejected twice. All right, this is the first rejection, this is the second rejection now. All right, so personally, I'll be watching out for the fact that, or the possibility rather, that zone will be broken. All right, so that being said, again, my overall bias on USD CHF will be bearish, right? But I might just be expecting a little bit of, you know, a buy to sell movement to happen on USD CHF. So I hope that is clear. All right, next up, let's look at AUD USD. All right, AUD USD. Now, personally, for me, I'll be expecting a level of bearishness on any currency against USD during the course of this week. All right, however, of course, the way those individual currency pairs will move will be different from each other. All right, there'll be similarities, all right, but intrinsically speaking, there'll be differences. All right, that being said, I'll be expecting a level of bearishness on AUD USD also. But as you can see here on my chart, holistically for me, or idealistically for me, I'll want to watch out for the fact that price would probably push up a bit more into this zone. All right, this is between 0. Give me a minute, please. This is between 0.67281 and 781. All right, so I'll be watching out for the fact that price will probably push up into that zone before we get to see that bearish move happen on AUD USD, on AUD USD. All right, so I hope that is clear. All right, next up, let's look at one of the most popular currency pairs to trade, Euro USD. Right, and something similar as we can see, or as we have seen on AUD USD, I'll be expecting a level of bearishness also on Euro USD. Now, one thing again I want to be very, very careful of is the fact that there's every possibility for us to see some level of manipulation, all right, during the earlier courses or earlier days of this week. All right, so that being said, we might get to see price push up just a little bit more, all right, even though we can see that there are some rejections here, we can see that there's been a slowdown of the momentum, all right, we might just get to see a possible push up into this zone just a bit more, all right, before we get to see that sell. However, overall, my bias on Euro USD would be bearish, all right. So before taking any of these trades, please do your best, all right, analyze on your own charts, all right, and then watch out for possible or the most probable confirmations. All right, make sure you have as many confirmations as possible, or as you have in your arsenal, to back up your analysis. All right, next up, let's quickly look at USD JPY. Now if you can look here, you can see I've marked out. Let me just go up to the daily time frame, please. I've marked out about three places. All right, this is 164.472, the second one is 145.289, and 144.343. so now I'm expecting a level of bullishness, all right, on USD JPY during the course of this week. However, the reasons why I marked out these zones, all right, because number one, as you can see here, this has been a point that, let me just extend this towards the side a bit, give me a minute please. Something like this. Or I can see that there has been a rejection first from here, all right, secondly from here, and then we are going to see price come back to that point. That's the first one, around 146.551. All right, so I want to see if there will be a possibility for us to get that rejection from there. All right, like I said, now before I'm going to be entering any of these trades, I'm going to be waiting for my own lower time frame confirmations. All right, so I'll possibly be waiting for a change of character on the lower time frame before entering any of these trades. All right, so even though overall on USD JPY right now my bias is bullish, I'll just be watching out for that lower time frame confirmation. So if I do not get to see price move towards the upside from here, I'll be watching out for places lower. All right, so one zone that you might want to just mark out for yourself would be around here. This is around 145.006 and 144.360. so that's an order block that I might also be watching out for. All right, so even though overall, as I said earlier, overall my bias on USD JPY is bullish, I just want to watch out for confirmations, all right, before entering any of those trades. So as much as possible, I want to minimize, I want to slim fit, as it were, all right, my stop loss. All right, I want to slim fit my stop loss and maximize, all right, my profit. All right, so I hope that is clear for USD JPY. All right, last but not the least, we'll be looking at GBP NZD for tonight. That'll be the last pair we'll be looking at for today. All right, GBP NZD. Now I want to open our eyes to see a few possibilities that might happen on GBP NZD. All right, so possibility one, we get to see price make a typical head and shoulder pattern. All right, shoulder, let me just quickly mark that out here. This shoulder one, all right, shoulder head rather, then this will be shoulder two. All right, that's why you see the reason why I've marked out, or I've extended this zone. All right, this is between 2.08 23 and 2.08283 and 2.08064. all right, so I want to watch out for the possibility for price to sell from there. All right, however, if I do get to see that price breaks above that zone, give me a minute please, then yes, so if I do get to see price break above that zone, then definitely I'm watching out for this higher zone. Yeah, this is between 2.08831 and 2.08544. All right, so one of the things, even though overall my bias is bearish on GBP NZD, I'll watch for which zone, all right, we'll get to see that bearish reaction from. If we get to see price breaking this earlier zone here, then definitely I'll be looking out for a sell from the higher zone there. All right, so I hope that is clear also for GBP NZD. All right, guys, so that'll be the last currency pair we'll be looking at tonight. Thank you very much for joining us for tonight's market review session. Please do well to like, all right, share, subscribe, all right, and if you have any currency pairs you would want us to look at together, please do well to type them in the comment section, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. All right, thank you very much, and have a very, very profitable week. Bye, guys.